What's up, beautiful besties? Welcome in. My name is Alicia, and this is the Divine Feminist by Turning Tides Tarot. Now, if you hear my voice cracking today, it is just because I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but I'm still here with a Mystic Monday reading for y'all. We are coming off the energy of the uh, eclipse, right? The solar eclipse is happening in the sign of Virgo. And so, Virgo rules like our body, our habits. And I feel like if some of you are like me, feeling just like exhausted, worn down, maybe caught a cold or have these flu-like symptoms that just kind of came out of nowhere, even though you weren't around anyone sick. You could be experiencing some ascension flu symptoms. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but basically when powerful like events happen, like eclipses and things like that, not only do they close chapters and eclipse things out of your life that, you're not meant to carry forward with you into new cycles and stuff that can be really powerful. But because it's happening in the sign of Virgo, we could be getting like little energetic upgrades, okay? And as our body prepares itself to receive higher levels and higher vibrations and things like that, downloads, whatever, depending on your belief system. I'm just saying, I feel like this tends to happen during these like huge upgrade type moments. So if you're feeling like me, a little under the weather and you don't know why, just take a little bit of time to rest and just treat yourself really gently this week, okay? And I'm doing that. Yes, I'm here doing the readings, but I've got my tea and I can pause the reading to take a break if I need to. So thank you all for being part of my day and just being here with me. We're going to go ahead and tap into a 3x3 Lenormand and see what's going on for the week ahead for you, bestie. Okay, so this Lenormand spread basically confirms everything that we've kind of been chatting about a little bit here already. Like now that we're moved through the eclipse portal, you're definitely not the same, or there's a part of yourself that's changing, right? You might not even feel the same as you did even just a couple of days ago. So you may have felt like some kind of subtle, or it could have even been a dramatic shift in your life, right? I feel like you are clearing out this heavy energy right now, these old identities, this emotional gunk, and really preparing to move into this new frequency. Okay, so right at the top we have coffin, clover, and mice, and we start basically with a recent ending. Okay, and no, it doesn't have to be tragic because it's a coffin, but it was definitely final. So it's like whether that was within a relationship that you put an end to, or you just said enough was enough. It could have been a pattern or some kind of like internal dialogue that you said, okay, I'm just done, right? You could have quit something, but it could also be something fizzled out on its own, right? But something ended here and you finally accepted a reality that maybe hurt at first, but ultimately gave you peace. Okay. Either way, it happened for you. Coffin basically marks the point where you basically stopped pouring into something that wasn't pouring back. Okay. Now, enter the clover. Okay. This is a little burst of good luck. It could be emotional lightness right after releasing something heavy, right? You could have been, it could have looked like maybe receiving random compliments or a message, an encouraging message that you weren't expecting. It could have been a small win in an area that's been pretty stagnant. Okay, so Spirit's asking you here, like, are you paying attention to the blessings, even the tiny ones? Because sometimes your hope shows up in sneak peek form before big breakthroughs come through and hit. And I have to say, to pay attention to the small blessings, because when I see mice here, this is saying that you could experience a little bit of like mental static or anxiety. It's low level, okay? It's kind of like worry energy or some mental clutter that creeps in just when things are starting to shift. So you might find yourself second guessing a decision that you already know is right. You might feel restless or maybe irritable, okay? Or even, it could even be hyper fixated on details. And so I feel like, you know, this old version that you're letting go of, or this version of you, the one that's walking through this eclipse, okay, is very much learning to feel all the feels, but you have to not feed the fear, okay? So try to catch it when it creeps in and redirect it, because I feel like what's ahead is bigger than what's behind you. So it's more about just catching yourself, like, and saying, instead of worrying about all the little ways that things could go wrong or whatever stresses you have in your daily life, don't let the little mice eat away at all those clovers, all those little blessings that you have. So try to redirect your focus this week, and remember the good things that are happening, even if they're just really small to start, okay? Because I do see bigger breakthroughs coming forward, all right? Now, and you have been going through some major shifts and changes, so try to focus on the things that still feel good for you, all right? Now, the middle row, I feel like this is where we get into like where you're headed now. This is like the spiritual reroute, the new path, okay? And here you are, and I feel like you're represented by the woman here, okay? Regardless of your gender, this is the divine feminist. That's who we're reading for, okay? And so here's the woman. We have the ship. That's your soul moving forward, okay? Your desires are shifting. Your emotional landscape is evolving. You might not have a map, but you are already moving, okay? You might not know where you're going, but you're already on your way. There's a shift taking place here, okay? Some of you could literally be dreaming of travel, relocation, or maybe even leaving your current environment. Others simply not vibing with your old routine anymore, because your soul is craving some kind of expansion, okay? And there is magic here with the bridge energy. Like, it's not just a week of endings and drifting. This is a week of connection. So there's something here that you may have thought was too far away, whether it's your next step, your healing, your peace, your new direction. It's actually getting closer for you. You are bridging the gap between where you are and where you want to be. So there could be a key conversation that closes a loop for you this week, or a sign that confirms what your intuition's already been telling you. Also, I see moment of clarity where everything kind of clicks, because the bridge here says, like, look, you're not stuck. The path forward absolutely exists, right? And you're allowed to cross it now, okay? And I feel like this is pretty huge here, because you've been working for this moment, right? Energetically, emotionally, spiritually, and now Spirit's basically opening the gates for you to access maybe even a new timeline here, all right? And now we have the rider, the fish, and the star on the bottom row. And I feel like this is kind of like the afterglow moment from this eclipse, okay? So the rider is incoming news, right? It's energy, it's momentum. So again, think some kind of message or a download from Spirit, a shift in the energy that gets things moving again. Even if you've been waiting on some kind of response or an invitation or even just a fresh vibe, it is landing for you, and you'll start to see that taking place this week. So we have fish, which is abundance, flow, and yes, even, often financial success as well, or, getting some unexpected income in. So for some of you, this could be new income or a business idea, or maybe even a sale you weren't expecting. But it can also be about emotional and creative flow, right? So there's a release of something that blocked your energy, okay? There's a release of a block this week, some kind of like even a creative block, like your ideas start coming back, the passion returns this week, and then we finish really strong with the star. Of course, this is talking about divine alignment and guidance and visibility and healing. So the star is reminding you that you're still on the path. So even when it feels a little chaotic, or even if your body's been glitching with ascension symptoms, or even like a full-on flu or something, even when your emotions have been loud and confusing, you are being guided. The dots will be connecting here this week. The bridge is forming, and I feel like you're really going to start moving towards this new timeline or version of yourself, where you are more in alignment with what you really want to be doing. Okay. So I'm just going to take a break. I'm going to sip my tea, but I've got questions. So I'll be right back. Okay. So how can we release the energy that's been draining us and move into greater flow this week? We have the Queen of Pentacles. We have the Two of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, a lot of Pentacles, Earth energy, and then we have the Chariot underneath the deck. Okay. Right. Let's see. Okay, because the coffin and the mice told us we had to release something, and something had to go, right? Obviously, with the tarot here, starting with the Queen of Pentacles, we're getting the how, right? Starting with the oh, my brain fog. Sorry, y'all. Starting with the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles, she does all the nurturing, right? She's the stabilizer. She keeps everybody fed and watered, emotionally supported. She basically does it all while maintaining the whole entire vibe, okay? But the thing is, she can also be the over functioner, okay? So if you've been feeling, energetically you energetically mother everyone else, or you hold everything together behind the scenes and your own needs are always on the back burner, that's going to be your leak, okay? And the message here is you're not the emotional support hamster wheel for everyone around you. So stop spinning, stop spinning just to keep others moving, basically. You need to take some time out, right? And then we have the Two of Pentacles. This is classic juggling energy, right? It's basically the card of being busy, but not always balanced. Okay. So you might be doing too much just out of habit, right? Juggling schedules and finances, emotional labor, business goals, and probably a whole inner monologue about not dropping the ball, right? So Spirit's coming through and asking, are you multitasking your life away, or are you moving with purpose? And then we have the Knight of Pentacles, and that kind of shows up almost like an accountability coach. Okay. So it's not about the hustle, it's about slow, intentional, step-by-step movement towards what actually matters, right? You don't need to push. You don't need to rush. You just need to perhaps simplify something here. Okay. So right now I feel like you are being called to, prioritize what's sustainable, say no to anything that you're doing that's just kind of keeping everybody else moving and it's not honoring you, and really trying to cut any distractions that keep you, again, just spinning your wheels instead of actually moving. Okay. So, under the deck here with the Chariot, I feel like that is a breakthrough that's kind of waiting for you. Once you stop spinning or splitting your energy, okay, between too many lanes, that's what happens, right? You're going to have a breakthrough once you focus on one thing, which is going to be the self, right? You basically can't direct a chariot if one wheel is in the past and one's in the present. You got to focus on the future. So once you let go of any of these draining obligations, you release the pressure to be everything to everyone, you move with intention instead of anxiety, your willpower will start to align with your vision and your values, and you actually start moving, okay? So this week, it is about asking yourself, what am I carrying that's not mine, okay? Where am I saying yes out of guilt or habit? And, what would feel easier if I just stop pretending it doesn't drain me, okay? So that's the shift, you're not spiraling here. You're trying to streamline things in your life, and you're clearing out the clutter so that your energy can flow, right? You're just trying to streamline your life and make it work a lot easier for you. So you don't have to pretend like everything's fine when you're over exhausted and overextending yourself. Okay. So then we're going to talk about the bridge, because that was major. right? The bridge is connecting something for us this week, right? And we need to be able to cross into this new chapter, timeline, you know, experience, okay, with confidence. So how can we do that? How can we do that? Oh, the High Priestess, the Moon, the Five of Cups, and the Two of Wands. Interesting. Interesting, because I also have this 10 of Cups, and I feel like this is relevant to the message that's coming through. Okay. Okay, so we know something's opening, right, this week. And we have this bridge to cross, right? And I have to say that I feel like it's more of a personal thing. Like, we're not really talking about external shifts this time. This is about you and your soul, because we have the High Priestess and then we have the Moon together. And I feel like this is really inner knowing and, you know, your dream state, your gut instincts, like it's all kind of pulsing underneath the surface here. Like, you might not be able to explain like why you know what you know right now, but it doesn't make it any less real. So this week's bridge is really connecting the seen and the unseen. So it's pulling you out of logic and more into intuitive leadership. Like, I feel like you're being called to walk forward. And again, you probably don't even see the whole entire path. Like, you don't even really see what's on the other side of this bridge, right? So Spirit's asking, will you be able to trust that? Because you can't see it, right? And I feel like we should trust it. And I'll tell you why. First, we have to acknowledge the Five of Cups. It is the grief card, right? But I do feel like this isn't about mourning or loss. It's more about acknowledging what didn't turn out the way you hoped, okay? So you could have been standing at the edge of this bridge, right, for a long time, maybe replaying the past or holding on to any disappointment, feeling like you can't really cross into something new while that old chapter is still hurting or still stinging. Bestie, I gotta say, this bridge isn't gonna wait forever. Like, you don't have to pretend the pain didn't matter, but you do have to decide that your future matters more. And that's where we see the Two of Wands and the 10 of Cups, okay? I feel like this is confirmation that, you know, the bridge is going to lead you to emotional fulfillment, right? So this vision that you've been quietly dreaming about, maybe it's the one that you've been afraid to want too much. You know, it is possible. And it's waiting on the other side of this inner shift, okay? So how do you cross this bridge with confidence? I feel like trust what your body's telling you. You can totally grieve what's no longer aligned without turning it into any kind of like blame on the self. And then I feel like you're going to step forward, even again, if it's foggy, you can't see the outcome. It's just because you feel the calling to do so in your soul. And we need to trust that. This bridge that's showing up this week is sacred. And I do believe it's connecting the pain of the pain. Okay. The hope. Okay. How do I explain this? The pain of losing hope for what was lost. Does that make sense? Or what could have been. Okay. And I feel like it's connecting you to your truth and to your emotional fulfillment. I hope that's making sense for you, because you just got to take one step, one prayer, one journal page, one bold move, right? You just got to go for it. You don't have to cross it all in a day, but you have to believe that there is something beautiful on the other side of this, okay? I really hope this is making sense for you, because I'm in a little bit of a brain fog right now myself. So I'm trying to relay the energy and my words. I'm getting a little bit foggy myself, but hey, I'm going to do what this reading says. I'm just going to trust it. I'll post it anyway. Okay. Let's get into this message. What message or opportunity is arriving, right? And helping you to align with your highest path. And we have the Ace of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups, the 10 of Pentacles. Like, look at that. Then we have the 4 of Pentacles underneath the deck. But this is really quite nice, okay? It really is. Okay, let's wrap this up, my loves, because Your girl is getting an even low energy from this. But this is beautiful, okay? And this is really nice. I have to say that, you know, I feel like spirit, this is where spirit's going to really reward all the work that you've been doing here with the Ace of Pentacles. Like, that's your fresh start, and it is a real one, okay? It's not just a shift in your mindset, but it's like a physical opportunity that's going to land for you this week. So it could be an offer or a payment or a project idea, even, you know, a quiet knowing that you've struck some kind of spiritual gold. All right. And then we have the Knight of Cups. So for someone, you know, this could be an actual person arriving with, you know, a heartfelt message or an invitation. Could be a romantic offer, but really what I see is a meaningful reconnection for some of you. But for everyone, it's hope in motion, okay? It's emotional renewal. Someone or something is coming in that feels aligned, and it's not because you begged for it. It's just because you made space for it, okay? And then we hit the 10 of Pentacles. This is the long game. You know, it's not fast cash or like fleeting vibes. This is generational healing. This is security. This is the vision that's going to sustain you. Like, you're not just getting a taste. You're going to be laying down roots, okay? And you really have earned this clarity. But under the deck, we do have the 4 of Pentacles, and I'm kind of loving it here because it does just advise us to protect it, like protect your peace, protect your energy, protect your vision. You don't have to overshare your dreams. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You can just receive. So I feel like with this, you know, to me, it's pretty clear that your path is opening, something stable is coming in, and the love you've been pouring into others, you're about to be getting it back. Okay. Now, before I go, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sticking it out with me today, even while I'm a bit sick and foggy and clearly in my own eclipse recovery phase. Okay. I'm going to take this reading's advice and go get some rest. But you know, take this guidance with you into the week. Let go of any of the draining noise. Trust the bridge that you're crossing. And, you know, when the message or blessing arrives, let yourself receive it. Okay. I'm sending you so much love and alignment, and I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully I'll be back to my regular self. Take care and have a blessed day.